Put on the adventure hats, we're going in.
Hi, I'm Justine.
And I'm Daryl.
And we're the Breakaway Bravehearts. And today we're in Guardamar. It's just down from Torrevieja and offers a very interesting alternative.
It's actually just up from Torrevieja.
It's just up from Torrevieja and offers a very interesting alternative.
Sadly, Torrevieja didn't appeal to me.
We've chosen to come to Guardamar because we want to help them. We saw a survey that was taken here a couple of years ago where they're looking at using tourism to improve the economy, and they asked the locals what did they feel about that. There was 79% of people who supported promoting and increasing tourism in Guardamar. Guardamar recently had quite a big dip in their population and their economy, and so tourism is seen as one of the ways they can start bringing money back into the community. So I guess this video is one way of helping us help them do that by promoting the town a wee bit and sort of comparing it to Torrevieja along the way.
We're already discovering that there's more to this than just the beaches.
Okay, so behind us is the info centre in yellow there. The people there were super nice, right?
Super nice, yeah.
Spoke to us in English when I asked, which was really nice of them to do that. The lady told me about, they've got the statue in there with a woman sort of plaiting or sewing, and that turns out to be a specialty from the area. So I'm going to look out for that when we're in the shops as well, see if we can find some of the sweet pepper stuff.
Great.
And you found an app.
I found an app. Basically, you can check down it and it looks like you've got culture and heritage. You've got things like you can create your circuits, and it gives you lots and lots of information.
There you go.
Makes things very simple, but it's nice if you like human connection to go to the Tourist Information Centre. They're very lovely people.
So we arrived on the bus, and the bus is a quick, easy walk to the info centre. It's fairly quiet at the moment because we've started early, but we'll see how busy it gets, yeah?
Absolutely, yep.
Torrevieja was reasonably busy for off-season. We're in late October, early November, so this is considered sort of very late mid-season, early off-season.
This is us heading towards the Castillo de Guardamar. Well, it's more about what we're going to than what I see around me at the moment. So the first thing I've noticed is that they've made the paths nice and flat and wide for wheelchair access. However, that said, I don't think I'm going to be mightily impressed by this place because it is, once again, a reconstructed unit. But there's got to be something we can learn. So there's different routes of things to see. Castle, Fonteta and the Rabita. Unfortunately, here it's quite difficult to read. They've gone for the old look, or it's just gone old.
So again, super friendly people in the information centre at the start. It's absolutely empty. We've seen one or two people, and we can get a lovely view over the town. So this has been settled, I had an acronym, what was it? Pirate. Phoenicians, Iberians, Romans, Islamic Caliphate, Christian period from the Reconquista. So very much the same as what we saw, obviously, in other regions like Lorca. And if you're interested in more detail about that actual history and how they all go together, check out our Lorca video that way, I think.
So basically, when we look at the very first piece of rock down here, that was remains of the 13th century wall. And then here at the back, you're looking at the remains of the 16th century. This one and this one is the 2019 version. Obviously there was a lot of naval activity because there was a lot of protection required. The naval military decided that they needed to build one of these antennas, and apparently it is the largest standing building in Spain and the tallest naval structure in Europe. And yes, it was gifted by the American military. When I say gifted, not the kind of gift I'd be looking forward to. There must be something more to this. Got down to the bottom here. Another remarkable finding is the discovery of human remains, specifically the bones of an adult lying face up. The number of recognizable wounds demonstrates the cruelty of this murder. How macabre is that? Sorry. Put on the adventure hats, we're going in. Ooh. Oh. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Oh, he's got his crossbow ready.
He's actually quite realistic and a bit creepy. It doesn't actually explain who he is, and it's not really as in depth as I might have hoped. I like to learn about the people who actually lived here, what their daily life was. There is a lot of stories to tell. You know, soldiers lived here. They had families, they had lives, they had fears. I'd like to know what their routine was and how they got through the day. There is a video here that shows us a little bit about what it would have looked like at the time and how it developed. It's basically just the architecture rather than the people. This was kind of a walled city, so there was definitely all sorts of people here.
So it pays to have the adventure cap on sometimes. We would never have known that it was here. Wait a minute.
It looks like you've left the route, so I'll reroute you.
What a
Head
surprise!
south on Calle del Baluart toward Cara la Redona.
Maybe we should change our channel name to Justin and Daryl Get Lost in as many countries as possible.
So one thing I've noticed actually, like here, is I'm really impressed because there seems to be ample amounts of recycle and getting rid of your rubbish and everything else like that, which is something that I didn't see a great deal of in Torrevieja. So we've reached our first park area, right? But already I feel as though I'm in a park where I can walk and enjoy the nature. And it's peaceful.
Yeah.
I think Guardamar has more promise.
This is quite beautiful, isn't it? I really like the way this is just natural. The one in Torrevieja was a created park. It was a design and sculptured park, which they all have their places, but this is more relaxing to me, I think, for sure.
So today we're nearly near to November and we are at 19 degrees. We're advocates of travelling outside of season. Off-season travel is always very helpful from a tourism point of view to make it spread over the year. And that kind of helps with the impact of everything, including excessive amounts of full bins, lots of tourists taking up spaces on the beaches. So look at it. We're in a beautiful park right now, beautiful shade, blue skies. We're heading towards actually the Rabita Calafal now, experience a little bit more history and culture, which is all part of the walk, which is great. So this is what we're talking about, this audio guide and the routes. Wow. Look at this. Basically is now giving me such a great deal of information. Spanish, English and Valencian, like it is here.
At this point in our journey, we enter the 10th century AD.
I'm really impressed by this.
Actually, Guardamar is the most southernmost point in Spain that speaks Valencian as a local language. So that's why there's the 3 different languages.
Wow, look at this. Guided tours as well in English on Fridays. So this one here is the Fonteta. It looks like they've gone to some effort to keep this as flat as possible so that it's wheelchair access friendly. Wow, look at this. Gosh.
Oh, it's a Phoenician city.
The first Phoenicians to arrive here found a forest filled with Aleppo and maritime pine trees.
Just look how thick that wall is.
It's impressive, right?
I was really surprised by it, to be honest with you. I was not expecting to see so much like that. I mean, again, there's reconstruction, right? They seem to be big on this reconstruction thing, but it's also really impressive to have learned that this is the best preserved, and it gives them so much information with regards to how the Phoenicians lived. So that in itself is really cool.
I'm loving how the audio guide is giving us so much information about the Venetians themselves and how they lived. I really got a sense of life here in this little Phoenician city. When you put this together with what we've seen at Totana, what we saw at Lorca, and then Cartagena, then you're getting to see the progression of history in Spain and how this culture was developed. So it's pretty cool.
Islam began discreetly settling in the area beginning in the 8th century.
This one is now 10th century BC, and it was discovered actually on top of the Phoenicians settlement underneath, and it is a Islamic monastery. So you can see there's two main streets, and then the little housing areas are actually really close together. It looks like it would have been hugely communal life. The audio guide talks about their daily life, so really getting a sense of the Islamic culture at this time in this area.
My first impression here was that this had very little to offer me, because I was just put off instantly by all this modern metal. And now I see why there is the need for this metal. They're using glass as well, and they're housing the original stone. So it's pretty cool, to be honest with you. This is free entry. Wow, here we go. Look. So I'm guessing they're trying to give you an impression here of just how this area would have been.
So right now we're scanning the walls looking for inscriptions, because according to the audio guide, they basically wrote, "I was here." So it translates to, "He entered this place," you know, like graffiti style somewhere on these walls. So that's what we're trying to look for. So this is what it would have looked like inside.
Exactly, and here and here, all would have been like that.
I don't know if it's going to pick it up on camera, but I definitely see.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's pretty good, isn't it? So I've enjoyed learning about that. It was really interesting.
So because this is free, we now need to find a way to give back to the community, and we're going to do that by going to a local restaurant and having some lunch.
Sounds
I'm
good.
hungry.
Let's do it.
Yummy?
It's a great start. I won't work out what that is now. I feel stuffed. One thing to say is no puedo más. I think it means you can't eat any more.
Yeah.
At 11 euros and getting 4 courses, I don't know what I ate, but it was tasty. But it was something to do with pork.
Yeah, this is not one for vegans, vegetarians, kosher, halal, but definitely a lot of good quality food.
And if they do such a good deal on the food, make sure you give the waiter or waitress a good tip. They deserve it.
Some of the cafeterias around here are closed down. So you can see this town is a town in development. They need tourist support. The survey that we read said that the locals are actually really happy to embrace tourists. quite comfortable with tourists being in their space. And we saw that today, right? The service was fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Firsthand.
lovely.
Mhm.
And she was very patient with our limited Spanish.
Absolutely.
This is, if you don't speak any Spanish, then you might be a little confused with what's going on in a local restaurant. But it's honestly, ours is basic Duolingo. and we're okay, right? So just give it a go.
So the reason we can see so much going on here right now with lots of different abundance of trees is because about 127 years ago, by royal decree, they wanted to protect the area, all these dunes. Apparently it's 800 hectares that go all the way down the 11 kilometers of the Costa Blanca.
If you're into the environment, if you're into cycling, walking, if you like history, come here. Don't go to Torrevieja beaches, just saying. Now I think we are actually coming to a beach so that if you are a beach person, you can see they do have them here too. Let's see what's at the end of this lovely walkway. So that was a 30-second walk and we're on the beach. So just to contrast with Torrevieja, which was just yesterday, this beach is practically empty and it's the same sea. You're going to get the same chill, if there's a chill in it at this time of year, as you would do in Torrevieja. But here we have space to enjoy. Just saying. So one of the challenges with off-season travel is that this time of year, your weather's going to spike up and down. So I was a little bit colder this morning with my jacket. Now I'm regretting my pants. And I didn't bring a hat to protect myself from the sun. So you need to be flexible. You brought your hat, you thought ahead.
I thought ahead. There was a good one there.
Oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
I just read that it has 900,000 euros invested into it. In fact, it was something like 895, 295 and 36 cents. I'd like to know where that 36 cents went actually.
It's not just an investment in the environment, it's an investment in mental health.
Almost like kills two birds with one stone.
Well, I'm guessing they don't want to kill birds if they're investing in the environment. He's not promoting bird killing with stones.
I can't believe she had to say that. Oh God.
I think you need a new phrase.
But this is lovely. We've got the breeze, we've got the sunshine, we've got the green, we got each other. Okay, look, it tells us where we are. Vostè está aquí, Park Reina, Sofia.
Oh.
Recently painted. Whoops. It helps to know a tiny bit of Spanish, but you got to read it before you touch. Don't. So they're saying this is a kind of magical forest, a lung for the town. You will enjoy the company of peacocks walking through the park and red squirrels. They've got Californian tortoises. Pretty once again, isn't
It is nice. Even though this is, again, is a planned manufactured park, it just seems a little bit more natural. It looks like they're planting natives.
Is that a tortoise?
Where? You got the right glasses on?
It's a what?
It's a rock, it's not a tortoise.
Isn't tortoises and turtles, tortoises are dry land and turtles wetland?
Wait, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They can swim, they can kick ass. Am I allowed to say kick ass? Something graceful about them, isn't there? Until they chase you.
Are you afraid of peacocks now?
Swans.
Oh dear.
I got bitten by a swan at a young age. It's trauma. But there is something just calming about seeing water, right? And being amongst the trees and everything else.
Yes.
Trying to work out what that one was.
That is the Animalus plasticus.
Tortoises live on land and they cannot swim. So Tortuga obviously means tortoise and turtle. It can only be turtles around water like this. It's that or it's a drowning tortoise.
So we've come to the end of our day in Guardamar, so we're going to do our social tourism review right here on the spot. I have to say, I felt like I really got a sense of the community here. I got to learn about the Phoenician history, the Islamic history, which all helps to understand today if you look at the past. We didn't have a huge amount of interaction with locals. The people at the information centre were really nice. I never found my sweet peppers, which is okay because I forgot I don't like peppers, so it's all good.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot I didn't like peppers, and then I remembered I don't like peppers. Why would I look for peppers? So one of the reasons why we chose Guardamar is that it is lesser known than Torrevieja, and they are trying to use tourism to promote their own economy.
I can't say a great deal about Torrevieja. I felt claustrophobic. It was just over-touristed for this time of year. But the beaches of Guardamar, you can see for yourself.
Just spread yourselves out across Spain because there's so much more to see. Treasury, all the places that we visited today seem to be funded by the local council, and they seem to be putting a lot of money into sustainable tourism. So kudos to them. We looked into employment rights, etc. Spain seems to have quite tight employment laws and seems to really protect its workers. And there is a focus on hiring locals.
So accessibility. Some of those hills down to the Rabita and to the La Fonteta were a little precarious. So you have to be a little wary of that.
Accessibility from a social point of view, it seems to be that most of Spain is very welcoming, and it doesn't look like you should experience too many problems here. We did note that they use both Phonecian and Spanish, which we thought was great. So obviously they're thinking about more indigenous populations.
Relationships. Well, we've enjoyed ourselves today.
Great day.
I would say that it was really educational. The fact that you had the app, you know, you just had to go onto your phone and you had the information there and you got a translation in English as well. All these things would just make your day. Value for money, well, what can we say about that? I mean, you know, it was free to get in.
We spent no money except for our lunch.
Which is our way of being able to give back, and that's great. Because if the Spanish government continues like that, then it's going to go to the right people rather than the big companies. That's what it's about, right?
Exactly. For me, actually, I got a little bit more than what I expected. The Phoenician walls.
Just that whole bit down there was brilliantly done.
So we've done a bit of research. Spain is really dedicated to sustainable.
There we go, we got a new word. Well, it's sustainable because sustainable is where Spain is at. Blooper.
Okay, so Spain is committed to sustainable tourism. They have a policy in place, they're working on it. We are going to be doing a bit of a feature, I think, on how they're doing around that. There were some goals set by Greenpeace not too long ago, and I'm going to look at that and see how they're going. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell, because we will be coming back to that.
I mean, I love seeing this SDG stuff all about, and it's like, it's kind of making people more aware by seeing all the signs. Which has got to be something that's going to wake a few people up, I hope. But it would be really interesting to see just how well Spain's performing on that side of things, because I know that there's a lot of pressure from larger European countries for Spain to do better. It definitely is trying, but just how hard, that remains to be seen.
Still a lot of work to be done, I think. So we used public transport to get here today, and that was pretty easy to use. Limited times, but it got us here fast enough, and from the central bus station we could access everything within walking distance.
It's worth coming down to Guardamar just for that beautiful fresh air and this forestry and the history that you can learn from. So put Guardamar on your radar
So all up, I think clear winner here. We would choose Guardamar over Torrevieja and Alicante. Next, we're hoping to go see the pink and white salt lakes, which are not too far from here. However, we've just checked the weather and it looks like there is quite a nasty storm headed our way, so we can't promise that. If not, our next stop after that is Madrid. So we hope that you'll join us there. Until then, happy travels everyone.
Oh no, I went the wrong way.